Once you've completed your project, downloading it to the panel is easy. Just click on Send. Verify that the correct COM port is selected, and if you're not sure, click on this little detail button. It'll list all the COM ports being used by your system and what they're being used for. Let's see, our cable is plugged into COM port 4, and we selected COM port 4, so we're in good shape. Note that by checking this box, you can save your entire project to the panel. So in addition to the executable that runs on the panel, you can also store all of your project source files and retrieve it later. This is an excellent way to keep your source file project handy and backed up. That way you know absolutely that this is the project that was used to create this panel. Just make sure you have enough room on the panel to store it. We have plenty of room here, so we're definitely going to save the project to the panel for future reference. This does add a little time to the transfer, but it's well worth it knowing you have the original source project backed up with the panel. Here are the memory usage statistics, and as you can see, we're not using much memory at all here. Finally, before transferring, make sure the panel is showing the setup screen. I'm going to hold down the F1 and the F5 key at the same time. Setup screen pops up. It looks like this. And now we're ready to do a transfer. If you don't get this screen or this screen doesn't come up, see the video on how to enable the setup screen or the video on how to prevent access to the setup screen. Either one will show you how to work around that. Once the panel's in this setup screen mode, just hit transfer. You can see the status of the transfers and when they're done. First, it's loading the runtime, and because we asked it to, now it's transferring the project source file. See, it says that right here. The project is now up and running on the panel I have here on my desk. If there's an error, you'll get a message. Let's go ahead and force it here. I'm going to unplug the panel from the cable so I can't possibly download it. And let's go ahead and do send, transfer, and here's that error message. Whenever the software can't talk to the panel, you'll get this dialog. The issue is almost always one of these three things. Number one, the panel is not on the setup screen. You didn't push F1 and F5 function keys for 3 seconds to get that setup screen to pop up. Number two, the cable's not connected, which is exactly the problem here because I just unplugged it. Or number three, you're not using the correct COM port assigned to that USB adapter. Make sure all of those are set up and you should be good to go. That's all there is to sending a project down to your panel. Be sure to check out the other videos in this series. And as always, please send us any topics you would like to see covered, or any other comments for that matter. We appreciate the feedback.